right now, 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 right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling, got a real good feeling, like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling, I won't hit no ceiling, I'm going higher than I've ever known. Yeah, I got a real good feeling, got a real good feeling, like there is lightning deep in my bones. Yeah, I got a real good feeling, I won't hit no ceiling, I'm going higher than I've ever known. I got a real good feeling.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, welcome back to the week. We are going to be starting off by talking about Ethereum. As you guys know, over the last 48 hours, there has been a slight resurgence in the price on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the cryptocurrency market as a whole. In this stream, we're first going to be going over all of the bullish reasons why we think that Ethereum is going to be moving to the upside. Then in our second segment, we're going to be looking at the bearish, because we like to give you guys a holistic 100% fully resolution picture of the cryptocurrency market, so you guys can understand everything that's going on from every single angle. And then we're going to be moving into our conclusions. I'm going to be telling you why I think Ethereum is going to be going to $3,800 by Halloween. And we're also going to be hearing from Tim's prediction. Speaking of Tim, how are you doing, Tim? How was your weekend, buddy?
I'm doing great. I mean, wasn't a pretty week for Virginia Tech, but at least we won the game. You know, if you're a Clemson fan, West Virginia fan, it wasn't a great week for you guys.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, at least
gotta take a win.
You know what? I will say, it wasn't even that bad of a week, considering the fact that the ranked number 4 team we were playing, we actually was within a field goal of winning. So,
Good for you. But
yeah, I was gonna
an
say
L's an L and a W.
Yeah, I was gonna say that center though, he's gonna have a tough week this week. Just thinking about how horrible he did.
Speaking of Smay, we're also joined as always by my producer Smay. How you doing,
Hello,
Smay?
everybody. I'm here, and I have something I need to say to you guys.
Yes, you do.
I need to shout out our beautiful, wonderful members, because I love the members. Thank you guys so much. If you don't know what the membership program it is a way for you guys to be able to support and become closer to the channel. And I think it's a great opportunity. But without further ado, I want to shout out Screwhead, our newest Grandmaster. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much.
Crypto Knight with a K. Thank you for joining. And Felix Danny Esteva. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much to our members. You guys can check out the membership program down below. By the way, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. This is the fastest growing analysis channel on cryptocurrency here on YouTube. And the reason that you should is because we're trying to bring you holistic, integral, and humility-backed content every single day. I want to make sure you can become financially free so that you can provide for yourself and your friends and your family and your community and your church. And that's why we are here, is for you. So hit that subscribe button and make sure to follow us all on social media. With that said, I have an interesting story that we're going to start with here that's a little bit off topic, but this will get the gears turning. This will get the wheels spinning, if you will. A hamster has been trading cryptocurrencies in a cage rigged to automatically buy and sell tokens since June, and is currently outperforming the S&P 500 and Warren Buffett. The Gox box, the trading office. A hamster comes in here to work every single day. He suits and ties up, and then he comes in here and he's got 2 different things. He's got a decision tunnel for buying, he's got a decision tunnel for selling, and then he's also got his intention wheel. So this intention wheel is how he selects what stock he's going to be trading. He's also got a couple of cameras here to make sure that he is working diligently. And this hamster has been trading since June, and it has been up over nearly 24%, according to Mr. Gox's Twitter feed. So this hamster has been outperforming the S&P 500 and outperforming some of the people that have been investing in the dog coins over the last 3 months. Tim, what do you think the biggest takeaway is from the hamster trading?
It's really not that hard to outtrade Warren Buffett these days.
Oof.
I actually was reading something a couple months ago that he has not actually traded that well in the last 11 years.
Well, he has like 200, so.
The market's changing.
You can't blame him.
Warren had a good run there, but when it's time to retire when you're being outdone by a hamster.
That's true.
He keeps trying to invest in the railroad, and he doesn't realize that that's not really a big investment anymore.
Yeah, well, Warren Buffett, we're sorry, man. You did very well, but maybe your time has come. I'm joking, of course. The dude's worth like $90 billion, and he got there from stock investment. But nevertheless, it's really funny. I think the biggest thing we can take away from this, guys, is that sometimes when you're sucking and you can't trade cryptocurrency for a profit, the best thing that you can do is get your gerbil on the phone and have him do it for you, because he might be able to outperform you. That's how you know that you need to invest in some cryptocurrency technical analysis education. You can find a link to do that down below. But let's go ahead and talk about Ethereum here. As always, we like to start with the positive because this is a positive channel. We're going to start with the bullishness over on ETH. One of the very first things that I want to show you on Ethereum shows up here on the 4-hourly chart. There is currently a descending triangle pattern showing up down here, an ascending triangle pattern, a descending trading channel, I'm sorry, showing up right here on Ethereum, and it actually ends up forming some kind of wedge. We can see that there's two different formations here. We talked about this last week. There's a downtrending level of resistance right here. There's a downtrending level of support right here on Ethereum, and then there's also another downtrending level of resistance from the rally that we saw over the last couple of days. So we have seen this rally over the last 2 days or so push us from about $2,750 all the way up to a local high around 10 o'clock last night. 15% Ethereum rallied in 19 hours. In doing so, it solidified a triple bottom right here with a bottom on September the 21st, September the 24th, and then just yesterday around 3 o'clock in the morning, September the 26th. We're currently experiencing this triple bottom right here. But there's some more macro things at play because, like I said, there's a descending trading channel going on with this downtrending level of resistance, this downtrending level of support, and then this downtrending level of resistance. What does all this mean? Well, the descending trading channel here, or the descending wedge right here, is one of the most important indicators that we look at when we're doing chart analysis. The fact of the matter is, descending wedges typically break to the upside. If you guys know anything about the statistical and historical analysis of cryptocurrency markets, you will know that wedges typically break in the opposite direction that they're pointing. So, for example, this wedge is pointing to the downside. That means it is statistically likely that it is going to break to the upside. If it were to do that, then we'd be looking at this downtrending level of resistance right here, and then we'd be looking for a break up somewhere around $3,300. So let's keep that in our back pocket. Another thing to look at down here on the 1 hourly chart is the fact that there is some bullish RSI divergence that's still playing out. We saw that there was a downtrend. That's Fibonacci, not a trend line. We saw that there was a downtrending level of support right here on the RSI down here on the Ethereum 1 hourly chart, and there's an uptrending level of support right here on the Ethereum 1 hourly chart as well. We're going to come back to this 1 hourly chart when we get into the bearish technicals, but for right now, I want to show you the fact that this bullish RSI divergence seems to be helping us to move to the upside. On top of that, another thing down here to look at on the 1 hourly chart is the fact that Ethereum rallied up to the same high right here around 3,170. It's a double top at the moment, but notice we have gone into a short-term trading channel moving to the downside down here on the hourly chart, and this looks like a bull flag to me. Take a look at the fact that we moved to the upside like this, and if we extrapolate that, then we should be expecting, according to this bull flag that we're looking at right down here on the 1 hourly chart, a $3,500 Ethereum in literally the next 24 hours. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that we're going to break to the upside here, and we're going to rally to this downtrending level of resistance, and we're going to move up to about $3,300 in the next 48 to 72 hours, but we'll come back to that when we get into our conclusions. Another thing to look at here shows up on the MACD. If we look at the MACD right here, the MACD is bearish on the 1 hourly chart, but if that descending trading channel continues to move to the downside and eventually breaks to the upside in the way that we would expect it to follow through and do, then we would see a reversal here on the Ethereum MACD, so take a look at that. We can also look out here on the 4 hourly chart, and it is unfortunately converging bearish on itself, but looking out on the daily chart, we can see that the daily chart MACD is starting to converge bullish on itself. So we've got a really interesting dichotomy going on right now, guys. There's a lot of mixed signals coming from the lower time frames, but the longer term time frame looks pretty bullish. Tim, I want to ask you some questions here. What are you seeing on the daily chart Ethereum that gives you, well, what are you seeing on the daily chart? Are you getting good vibes from the daily chart or bad vibes?
Well, no, I'm getting a lot of good vibes, and the truth is it's from the whole market altogether. I was doing, this morning I did some Bitcoin TA before I knew we were going to go the direction of Ethereum, so I went down into Ethereum, and overall, we're seeing almost the exact same things panning out. First of all, we are in that descending trading channel, but we're on a bullish kind of movement in that descending trading channel. We have bullish RSI divergence that's still sitting there, which the longer we get away from not acting out, to me, communicates even the more explosive nature of what's going to happen when it does finally play out. The red histograms are starting to shrink on the MACD, meaning we're kind of seeing a change happening there. And, there's a key level that I think the bulls are starting to wake up. There's a key level, according to VPVR, of 32,040. I think that, if we can get to that level, there's going to be a lot of strength for the bulls. That's where they can kind of take a rest. But I think we're going to hit that here in a couple days, not by the end of September. I think we're moving kind of sideways, and you kind of see that sentiment happening on the 4-hourly chart and the hourly chart. But we're going to get to that level. We're going to be able to hold it, and then we're going to be able to explode with all of those bullish indicators. I love this. I love that the daily chart is bullish and that the others are bearish, because what that means is it's like a setup. We are literally creating a spring right now for a massive takeoff here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you. I'm really getting a feeling that October is going to be a very bullish month, and we're going to be explaining why here in a little bit. But I really want to remind you, I know I said this a second ago, but I want to bring it up again. Take a look at this descending trading channel right here on the 1-hourly chart. I think this is something you're going to want to be watching today if you are a trader, because if that starts breaking to the upside, it's going to give you a lot of great signals. Really quickly, let's go ahead and take a look here at Lux Algo on the 3 different time frames. Right now, down here on the 1-hourly chart, Lux Algo almost perfectly called this entire rally, and then also told you to go ahead and stop out your trade, take your profit right here. Looks like it was a pretty great take profit down here on the 1-hourly chart. Taking a look at the 4-hourly chart, we are going to see Lux Algo loading. We're going to see that we are currently under a strong buy signal, and Lux Algo is giving us that strong buy signal at the moment. So this strong buy signal is something that I think we ought to listen to. Generally speaking, when Lux Algo says something, you should listen to it. It's very rare that this indicator gives you a bad signal. It does happen sometimes, but it seems to be pretty accurate based on the analysis that we've done. We are under a strong buy signal on the 4-hourly chart right now. Out on the daily chart, if I remember correctly, we're still bearish, but this could reverse at any point. I think if we start moving up above 36, 37, 38, then we'd be looking for a buy signal there, but of course that is a little bit of a ways out. I want to jump on over to one of the people that helps us put this show together, Kelly Kellum's Twitter, and I want to talk about some fundamentals and some on-chains. Kelly retweeted something that Lark Davis tweeted having to do with the amount of Bitcoin flowing into the cryptocurrency markets, and the reason we're looking at Bitcoin a little bit here while we're talking about Ethereum is because Bitcoin, and the words of Kelly that he told us this morning, is one of the best indicators for what Ethereum is going to do. He's referencing this article right over here. You can find this. It is on CoinQ News. On-chain indicators are becoming bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And if you scroll down here, there is a little subheader that says this. It says, I have it in my planning document. Let me find this. It says the amount of Ethereum held on exchanges continues to decline exponentially. In the last month alone, over 1.35 million Ethereum were withdrawn from trading platforms, a decrease of 6.63%. You can see it being said right down here. And then we're also seeing the same thing happen with people withdrawing their Bitcoin from the Bitcoin wallet. So we're seeing that a lot of people are moving their cryptocurrency off of exchanges while whales are buying cryptocurrency. So Tim, what does it mean when we see a lot of people? What do you think about the on-chain landscape right now?
I think, again, this is a concept of we're seeing all the worlds kind of converge. For anyone who's like, oh, I only use technical analysis, or I only use fundamental analysis, or I only use on-chain, or I only use a sentiment, we are watching all of them converge into telling the exact same story. And that is that there is a little bit of a down price, but with this moving off the exchanges, for those of you who have been watching the show for a while, what do we think of when things are taken off of exchanges? It is massively bullish in the long picture. So whether that metric affects Ethereum's price today, tomorrow, or maybe even the rest of this month, which we only have 3 more days, I don't know. But when we talk about the outlook overall and the future, and you combine that with what we're seeing on the technicals and the daily, you combine that with the news we're seeing breaking out, even some of it, I don't really love the news, but it's still good news for Ethereum. These are all indications of a bullish long-term future over the next couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. And really quickly, I want to talk a little bit about the institutions, because that's kind of one of the points that we're going to be getting at in this stream. The on-chains look to be very bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum looks to be set up for a big bullish movement to the upside by the fact that it's in that descending wedge on the daily chart. It also looks like there might be a bit of a rally coming in the next few days from that bull flag that we looked at down on the 1-hourly chart. So one of the things that I really want to get at here, and I'm going to go ahead and ask you this now, Tim, instead of a little bit later like I had planned on it. Let me go ahead and scroll down here. What do you think why do you think the price is struggling so much right now, even though the fundamentals seem to be so bullish, even though the whales seem to be so invested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Why is the price struggling right now? And what do we know about it that might be bullish?
Well, there's not enough exciting news right now because we've played all the exciting news. When Ethereum had their final launch, where they actually are now they were working to be deflationary. I mean, we had some burning of coins. That news is played out. It's not exciting anymore. It is what it is. With Cardano, we had the addition of smart contracts. That news is played out. Even though we just had a conference yesterday, the news is played out. There's nothing super special. So what we're seeing, again, we talked about this on Friday. What is your worldview of the crypto market right now? What are you seeing happen? And what we're looking at is institutional manipulation to accumulate more. So this is still part of that language. This is the let's continue to waste the supply, get that supply down to zero so that we have our floor and the institutions can take the most profit possible. And it's starting with Bitcoin, but we're seeing it play out on the other ones as well. This is still part of the sentiment of we are not in a bear market. If we were in a bear market, the price would be going down right now. It's pretty much staying still, just bouncing up and down at the certain level. That is the clear sign of accumulation from whales, that they're ready to get that price to go back up. Again, give it a couple of days, and that's exactly what we're going to see happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely, guys. I think what we're seeing right now is that there is a lot of bullish sentiment in the market that is not being realized. What do I mean by that? Well, the fact of the matter is Ethereum and Bitcoin are primed and ready for a big movement to the upside. The question is not, is there the ability for us to move up? The question is, have we had that catalyst just yet? And we haven't seen it. We haven't seen a massive breakout on Ethereum. We haven't seen a massive breakout on Bitcoin. We had this Cardano news that happened over the weekend. We're not even going to go into a lot of detail on that in this show because it didn't move the price, and that's what you guys are interested in, the price. There's a lot of bullishness going on, and right now, and here's the point I want to make with this, and then after I say this, we're going to read some super chats. By the way, if you haven't already, smash that like button. We got a bunch of people watching. I know we can get to 750 likes here in the next couple of minutes. Helps out the channel when you do that. Right now, the biggest thing that I am seeing in the cryptocurrency markets across every single market, not just Ethereum, is that the price is a lot lower than it should be based on the amount of fundamental development, based on the amount of exchanges getting in, institutions getting into the cryptocurrency market, based on the amount of cryptocurrency moving off exchange into privately held wallets. The price is lower right now than it should be. And in fact, I have a model that I want to show you. Let's take a look at the stock to flow model for Bitcoin. But again, remember, this plays heavily into Ethereum because what Bitcoin tells us helps us to understand what Ethereum is doing, because Ethereum very much and very closely follows Bitcoin. Take a look at this right here. This is what's known as the stock to flow model. It was set up by Plan B. That is the pseudonymous creator of this model. It is based off of something called the stock to flow ratio, which is the ratio between the amount of a cryptocurrency in existence, like Bitcoin, and the amount of a cryptocurrency that is being created every single year. The stock to flow ratio, not the model, the stock to flow ratio is useful for valuing gold, for valuing silver, for valuing other assets and commodities like grain and silver. The stock to flow ratio is incredibly important. The stock to flow model gives us a prediction of where Bitcoin should be. It says right now that Bitcoin should be trading between $80,000 and $100,000. Right now, the stock to flow model, as you can see down here, shows us that we're trading at $43,000. So look at this line right down here. This shows what Bitcoin is doing in relevance to where the stock to flow model predicts that we should be. You can see there have been a few times in history, such as June of 2017, such as February of 2019, such as September of 2015. These were times in history where Bitcoin was much lower than what the stock to flow model was predicting. What happened? September 20th, 2015, we were trading below what the stock to flow model was predicting. We were trading at $240. Stock to flow predicted $500. We went into a big rally. In fact, we went into the entire bull market. Taking a look here at August of 2017, we were sitting quite far below what stock to flow was predicting. We were sitting at 3,000. It was predicting 5,000. We went into a rally, so forth and so on. Right now, we're sitting at half the value that stock to flow says we should be. This means that Bitcoin is undervalued right now. This means that Bitcoin is more than likely going to go into a big run over the next 3 months. And if Bitcoin does that, then you know what follows? Ethereum. That's what follows. So Ethereum right now is primed and ready for a big break to the upside, and we're going to give you all of our reasons why in this show. With that said, Tim, let's go ahead and read some super chats and some comments. I know we got a couple that we want to go ahead and dive into. Make sure to smash that like button if you haven't already.
Yeah, we got a question here from Zach Altman saying, "Good morning, Jeb. I'm buying CT2A today. Do you teach how to leverage trade in the course? What's your answer? Yes or no?"
We don't right now, and the reason is because CT2A, while we do have a lot of very advanced concepts in the academy, CT2A is specifically targeted to people that are a little bit newer to cryptocurrency, people that are in like the beginner to the intermediate stages. Like I said, we do have a lot of expert analysis that is done in the last segment of the course, but we're generally speaking targeting it towards the people that are a little bit newer. So we don't talk a whole lot about leverage trading just because a lot of people get wrecked by leverage trading because they try and do it too early. Leverage trading is it is something that we'll talk about in the future when we start segmenting things, but right now, not really.
Yeah, we have another one from 4 by Grace. So he likes to post verses of the day. This is a great verse, kind of encouraging to where we are right now. He said, it's Ecclesiastes 7:8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and be patient in the spirit is better than proud in the spirit.
There we go. Absolutely, amen to that.
Gotta see a couple others. Yeah, I got Shannon working here, but he's getting a little bit behind. Gotta increase the speed.
Come on,
there,
Shannon.
I'm going to read a couple of the other super chats. Let me get to them. Kelly Kellum, guys, those you guys can scroll back up there. He posted a link about the information about the Ethereum burn. So if you want to know more, go click that link.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. I'm going to find a good one. Here's a great one from Corey. He said, "Good morning, gents. Hope the weekend treated you well. What are some of the next altcoins you plan on covering?" This is a conversation we've actually been having.
Yes.
So,
yeah, absolutely. So if you guys don't know, and by the way, we're in our intermission right now. We're about to start our second segment. We're going to be talking about the bearish technicals on Ethereum coming up here in about 5 minutes, so stay tuned for that. But really quickly, I do want to answer that. We're actually going to be talking about Avalanche this afternoon in our new show called Altcoins Anonymous, so make sure to stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about Avalanche, and I'm also looking at a couple of other projects. We're looking at Cosmos. We're looking at... What are some other ones we're looking at, Tam?
Where are you going to look at Link?
We're going to look at Link. That's one I'm missing. Yeah, Link is in a very interesting pattern on its long-term technicals that we're going to be breaking into. So that's definitely something that we want to look at there. Yeah, so make sure to stay tuned with LuxAlgo. Make sure to stay tuned with LuxAlgo, sure, but make sure to stay tuned with Altcoins Anonymous. We'll be covering that over there.
Boom.
Cool beans.
I think that's what we got for now.
That's what we got for now. Cool beans. Well, here's the deal. We need to give that like button a little bit of love. It's at 427, and I think we can pump it a little bit higher. Smay, you've been quiet all stream. Let me ask you this. Where do you think Ethereum is going in the next 30 days? Because I'm going to be giving my Ethereum price prediction in this video, but I actually want to hear yours because we were talking before we started, and it sounds like you disagree a little bit with us. What are you thinking?
I just don't think that it's going to go. I mean, I actually don't disagree with you. I think it's good. I just disagree with Tim, but they don't know Tim's take yet.
They don't know my take yet.
So this is kind of a awkward moment.
It's true. But what I was specifically asking about is your feeling about the whole turtle market thing we've been talking about. If you guys don't know, hashtag turtle market, I completely agree with Smay's take. We are in a hashtag turtle market. We're moving very slowly right now, but that doesn't mean that there's not opportunity. When do you think that that'll let up?
I don't know. I think that all the movements that everyone's predicting is still going to happen. Like I do think that we're going to see big movements here soon. Well, keyword, I don't think it actually is going to be as soon as people think. I think people expect things to happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? And I mean that figuratively, not literally tomorrow. But, might as well, because a lot of times it's like this week it's happening. This week, I just don't think it's happening. I don't think October is going to be a super, super green month. I think we'll probably end, for Bitcoin, I think we'll end October at 51, 52. And then Ethereum, I think Ethereum's going to end up around 38. So that's my thought.
Sounds good. Well, guys, make sure to go ahead and leave any questions that you have in the chat. We're going to go ahead and move on here because we do need to look at our bearish technicals. Let's go ahead and jump back onto my chart over on ETH. Let's go ahead and start first here on the 4-hourly chart. This is something Tim was saying earlier, and I agree with him. Right now, it's really funny. All of the bullish technicals are showing up on the daily chart. All of the bearish technicals, or a lot of them, are showing up down on the shorter-term time frames. And I think that really speaks to what we're seeing right now in the cryptocurrency market. There's not a lot of exuberance right now in crypto. There's not a lot of excitement right now in crypto for the price action over the next couple of days. But there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope that Bitcoin and crypto are going to go in these big rallies over the next 3 months. And I think that is true. I think that Q4 is going to be very bullish. That doesn't necessarily mean that the next couple of days are going to be super interesting, but we're going to go ahead and talk about that. So let's look down here on the 4-hourly chart. One of the first things to take a look at here is that it does look like we are forming what is known as bearish RSI divergence. That is showing up here on the 4-hourly chart. The reason being, there is an uptrending level of resistance on the RSI right here, and then a downtrending level of resistance right here on the Ethereum USD 4-hourly chart. That is not a good sign, and it does indicate that we might go a little bit further to the downside than we have seen so far. Remember, we talked about this little bull flag right here, and how that was hopefully going to rally us to the upside, but keep this bearish RSI in mind. Another thing to look at here, and I mentioned this briefly earlier as we were looking through the MACD. The MACD is bearish at the moment on the 4-hourly chart. Down on the 1-hourly chart and the daily chart, things look a little bit different, but for the most part on the 4-hourly chart, the MACD is converging bearish on itself and not looking all that great right there. Now, there's an interesting thing showing up on the volume, and we've talked about this here on the channel a couple of times. I want to go ahead and go to a clean chart for Ethereum. And actually, let me grab another chart really quickly so I don't have to lose all of our charting here. I'm already on Bitfinex. There we go. ETHUSD. Let's go to Binance US. Here we go. Here's a clean chart. Let's look at the volume here on Ethereum. So what is the volume doing in relation to these three bottoms? That is not what I meant to do. I went to the wrong chart. There we go. What is the volume doing in relation to these three bottoms? We saw a lot of volume coming into the market here as Ethereum was going into a major downtrend approaching this bottom. Then we saw the volume not really do a whole lot as we were going into our big uptrend right here when Ethereum tried to recover around September the 23rd. Then we saw the volume also didn't have a whole lot going on right here. And then after another correction, the volume has been continuing to go to the downside. Now, this is something that Tim and I actually disagree on. I think that the volume being low right now is a bad sign. I think the volume right now being low is indicative that Ethereum is about to go to the downside over the next week and a half or so. I have a lot more technicals I want to show you, but really quickly, I want you, Tim, to explain what you're seeing on the volume and what your take is on that.
Well, as the price goes down and the volume goes down, that shows that the bears' interest is actually decreasing. And this is a concept that Richard Wyckoff teaches, and one of the things he says to look for, especially during accumulative phases. So when you're in an accumulative phase, which I think no matter who you are, everyone agrees we're in an accumulation phase, when you see the bottoms have high volume spike, that means we have not yet exhausted the supply. When we see the volume low, that means the supply is very exhausted and people are kind of in a wait and see, in which case the whales who want to manipulate everything have a lot of power and control. Therefore, those are what they are looking at to raise the price up. Same thing when they see the volume be high at the tops, that's they're saying, okay, all right, let's keep this going. When they see the volume low, it's like, all right, we can bring this back down, because in an accumulation phase, their mindset is, which everyone should be, sell at the tops, buy at the bottoms. Can we get it to go down lower? If we can, let's keep doing it. It's when we can't. It's when we see the boringness happen, is that they're like, all right, there's nothing happening right now at this low levels. We can't keep it down here. Let's go ahead and take our profit. Let's go back up. So to me, I think we're in a perfect spot to see low volume. If it's low volume at a peak, then that's not good. But low volume at the bottoms, I actually think is very bullish for any project that has that.
The only thing I'm concerned about is if we look here on the 4-hourly chart right now, there is what is known as a flag of some kind forming. We're in a downtrend right now, guys, and then we also see that Ethereum and Bitcoin are both setting similar highs and similar lows. And I'd like to believe that this is a rounding bottom. I'd like to believe that this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern that you can see right here that's forming. You can see how that might end up playing out. I would like to agree with the fact that there is a wedge or a descending trading channel right here that will flag out and push us to the upside. I'd like to believe all that. But what I also see is that the interest in cryptocurrency right now is at a low that we haven't seen in a few months. And that is normally not conducive to a big rally. What it might be conducive of is a slow resurgence in price action. Let me show you some history on Bitcoin, then we're going to come back to our short-term Ethereum technical analysis. This shows up on Bitcoin, but it's the exact same thing that happens on Ethereum. Notice here in 2015, Bitcoin was very, very low. It didn't start the bull market with this gigantor rally. What it did is it very slowly kicked off. What we see happen in bull markets and bear markets is oftentimes bull markets lead to this massive blow off top just like this, and then the bear market ends, or the downtrend rather, ends in a slow accumulation. So maybe that's what we're seeing happen right now. Maybe we're seeing that slow accumulation take place. But let's go ahead and jump back on over to our Bitcoin chart. Our Ethereum chart, excuse me. If we look at Ethereum here, there are a few more things that I want to show you, and one of them has to do on the 4-hourly chart with the TD sequential. Let's go ahead and take the TD sequential into mind here. We can see that we're sitting at an 8 green flash on TD on the 4-hourly chart. This is indicative that the TD sequential is saying that we are moving to the upside. We've moved to the upside too far too fast. However, in the next 4 hours, I do think that we're going to see this get reset, and we're going to see a red 1 on the TD sequential, so I wouldn't be too worried about this, but it is something to keep in mind. Taking a look here at the Bollinger Bands, we have bullish and kind of in a way bearish technicals at the same time, but I want to go ahead and bring this up in the bearish technicals camp. We're currently sitting on the very top of the Bollinger Bands, and we are in this very constricted point in the market where the Bollinger Bands are quite constricted. They're quite close together. Keep that in mind. Whenever the Bollinger Bands are very, very close like this, it is indicative that we're in a period of low volatility, because remember, volatility is what drives the Bollinger Bands in the first place. So if the Bollinger Bands have no volatility, then it means that there is going to be a switch at some point in the near-term future to high volatility. So let's keep that in our back pocket also right now. The market isn't doing a whole lot at the moment. However, if we continue to see us trade sideways like this, the theory behind Bollinger Bands, that the Bollinger Bands are cyclical, and we see periods of high volatility before periods of low volatility and vice versa, then we could see a period of a lot of growth over the next few weeks. So definitely be watching that. Taking a look down here at the 1 hourly chart, we can also see that the RSI may be setting up for divergence, as we saw similarly on the 4 hourly chart. Tim, do you want to break down this RSI divergence that you were seeing here? Where is this showing up on the hourly chart?
It's very slight. It's very, very slight. So let me go to my chart. You're on the hourly chart?
Yes.
Yes, let me go to the hourly chart.
Are you looking at the peaks on the 23rd of September to the 27th?
What I'm looking at is, so let's look at those two peaks on the RSI. Mm-hmm. Let me go to the date.
Which two peaks?
Look at September 26th at 1600.
Ah, these. I thought you were talking about down here.
And then the 2100.
Exactly. So what we're seeing here is that there may be some RSI divergence playing out right here. It's very, very, very slight, but definitely keep an eye on that. What I'm seeing happen,
I think we're playing it out right now.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's extremely slight. And then what I think we're doing with that is we're putting a little bit of a flag into position right here with a small correction. One of the things I mentioned earlier when we looked at Lux Algo, but I'll mention again, is that while we are in a strong buy signal on Lux Algo, which is a good sign, on the other hand, we have seen a take profit signal around 8 o'clock last night on the same indicator on the 1 hourly chart. So make sure you look at that. The Lux Algo indicator right here looks bullish, but it also told us to take profit. It was a very good take profit. It was a very good take profit signal. We can't argue that. But another thing to look at here, and this might switch to being a good thing in the next few hours, but right now we can see that the MACD is still bearish. We do still have a bearish RSI cross, a bearish MACD cross in play. This might be reversing in the next couple of hours. But before we go to intermission and read a couple of chats here, there's one thing I want to tell you. Because there are so many people right now that are super scared about Bitcoin. Drop a 1 in chat if you're wondering, what is Bitcoin going to do? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, the rest of the crypto markets, it doesn't seem to be doing anything right now. It's not moving. Oh my gosh, I'm so bored. Drop a 1 in chat if that is you. 1. I just dropped a 1 in chat. That's me saying that, yeah, the cryptocurrency markets ain't really doing a whole lot right now. But guess what? They actually are. It just doesn't show up on the daily chart. When you look down here on the hourly chart, we just saw a 16% movement to the upside in just as many hours. So also, give me a 7 in chat if you consider yourself to be a trader. Because what a trader needs is not big, sexy, massive, gigantic rallies to the upside having to do with big fundamental news stories. You just need volatility. And frankly, the volatility that we've seen over the last several days is actually some of the easiest volatility to trade, in my opinion. Some of these giant corrections right down here on the hourly chart have seen a 30 on the RSI. Boom, that's an obvious buy signal. Sometimes we've seen the chart move up to a same level that we had seen before, and then it hits 70 on the RSI. Boom, there's your sell signal. Lux Algo is giving us some pretty great signals down here. So give me a 1 in chat if you consider yourself a trader. I think right now there is a lot of opportunity, even if the market seems to be trading sideways over the last couple of days. And the other thing I want to encourage you is that if you're an investor and you're looking at this market right now, this is prime time because they want you to sell. Who is they? We're going to be talking about that here in a little bit, but they don't want you to buy and hold Ethereum. They don't want you to. JP Morgan is someone that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. We want to talk about old Jamie Dimon and his company because it's got a lot of craziness going on. No one that considers themselves to be a whale or an institution or anything like that wants you to hold Bitcoin. Why? Because they want you to put it on the market to sell it so they can buy it from you. I don't necessarily agree with the short-term bullish sentiment that Tim is talking about with the volume. I can see where you're coming from.
No. I'm not saying short-term we're moving up. I'm saying short-term we are moving down because of what's happening, but we're setting up a long-term bullish.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's why I was confused why you were disagreeing with me.
Okay, no, I agree with that.
It's not like we're saying the
I
exact
agree with
same
that
thing.
because my point here with the bearish, and then we're going to move into kind of a whole, in our concluding segment here in about 8 minutes, we're going to move into all of our thoughts on the longer-term perspective on Bitcoin and on Ethereum, excuse me. I think right now we're about to go through a short-term correction followed by a blast off in October. That's what I think. We're going to explain why here in a second. The reason I tell you that now is because I want to encourage you. What we just talked about is bearish. There are reasons to be bearish on the short-term time frame. There are reasons to be bearish and think that, okay, Ethereum looks like it might be about to go to the downside, where we might see a correction down to about $3,000. That's roughly where we are right now. You can also see that there may be a correction down to about $2,900 based on Fibonacci. There's a lot of different levels that we'll look at here in just a second. But the point I'm making here is this. The whales, all these new players that are in the space over the last 12 months, they don't want you to hold. Why? Because they want you to sell. Why? Because they want to buy it at these low levels. Why? Because if they do, they're going to make a bunch of money in the next 12 months when Ethereum goes to $9,000 or $10,000. They're going to make a bunch of money when Bitcoin goes to $200,000 in the next 12 months, or $100,000 in the next 12 months. That's who's going to make all the money. They want you to sell. They want you to get bored. They want you to leave because they want to be the ones to make money. Don't fall for it. With that said, let's go ahead and read some super chats. If we have any.
Yeah, no, so at the moment, actually, I don't know if we really have any super chats. I'm scrolling to make
Cool, we can
sure.
read normal chat.
Shannon said, yeah.
Full screen.
'Cause I asked him to do this. We're experimenting. Usually I copy and paste them, but so I can stay focused on the show, Shannon is doing some of that stuff today.
Shannon.
You know, let's see here.
We got a bunch of people watching right now, guys. About 2,500 people watching. I know we can get over 1,000 likes here in the next couple of minutes. Guys, we're trying to bring you really high-quality content because we want you to be financially free. Like, drop a 10 in chat if you want to be financially free. That's what we're here for. I really appreciate those likes, guys. Really appreciate all of them. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people comment that they want to purchase Ethereum if it drops back down to 2,900.
Agreed.
That's the spot. I think that's actually a great spot. I think we could see the price action easily going down there. You know, people commenting about how boring it is. It's true. But I think in all reality, what we can do is go ahead and move in our conclusion, because even the sentiment of what chat's kind of going on about, we're going to discuss here in our conclusion. So
yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what my price prediction is. And I'm going to read directly from my notes here. We got a lot of 10s in chat. Thank you guys very much. Here's what I think's going on. Let's go ahead and jump onto my chart right now, actually, and I'll go ahead and illustrate while I'm talking here. And I want to see, give me a 5 in chat if you agree with what I'm about to say after I've said it. Of course, you don't know if you agree yet. I think that the entire cryptocurrency market is in a giant holding pattern. I think that Ethereum right now looks strikingly similar to 2017. Take a look over here in 2017. We saw Ethereum rally from $7, January 1st, 2017, to $400. Gigantic rally. Now, of course, we didn't see this year a 6,000% rally, but what we did see was a rally from $90 all the way 4,500% in 422 days. So, first phase, gigantic rally. These are the same so far. Let's take a look at the history here. Gigantic rally, Ethereum rally 6,000%. Same thing so far. What happens next? Well, they hit a top, and then they go into a correction. That's the next thing that happens. We see that, and then we saw this giant rally, then we went into our correction. What happened here this year on Ethereum? We hit a top, went into a big correction, and then we started to rally. But first, we pulled back 62% on that secondary movement to the downside, pulled back 69% here on Ethereum. What happened from there? In the third leg, Ethereum rallied almost, not quite, but almost to its all-time high. Take a look at this. Ethereum rallied to $397 when its all-time high was $413. And now we're getting into the time of the market that I actually remember, because I got into cryptocurrency, just for your perspective, right here on July the 31st. This was the day that I got into cryptocurrency, this vertical right here. So literally all of this, like all of this out here, I've watched all of this happen live. So I've been watching Ethereum for a while, over 4 years now. The third thing that Ethereum did is it went into this big leg to the upside, and it almost hit all-time high. Let's take a look at our current market. What happened? We went into a big leg to the upside and almost hit all-time high. It is striking how similar these markets look, guys. In this case, Ethereum rallied to $4,071. How far did it need to go to get back to all-time high? It needed to go 7% to get back to all-time high. Look at how close this is. Let's look back here in 2017. In this case, we rallied to $397. We needed to go 5% to get back to up to all-time high. Well, guess what happened after that? We saw a correction. See where this is going? We saw this correction, and this correction went about half as far to the downside as the first one. Well, let's take a look at our current market. What has happened here? We see that we went into a correction, and it's almost half as low as the previous correction. What's going on right now is that we're seeing the exact same thing happen on Ethereum today that we saw in 2017. First, let's pause. Remember, there are 4-year cycles that happens in the cryptocurrency markets as a result of the halving on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is worth $800 billion right now. It was worth $80 billion the last time we were at this phase in the halving. We've seen a massive increase in the price. What did we just see happen? Ethereum rallied to $4,000 when before it rallied to $400. Its all-time high right now is $4,400 when before it was $420. We're seeing the exact same market play out on 10 times the scale. That's what's happening right now. So when we're doing our historical analysis on a market, we want to look and see in the past what has happened that we can assume might repeat itself, and then can we back that up with evidence? What happened before is Ethereum went into a period of relative boredom. It went into a period of sideways movement around $300. What happened then, and I need to bring the Bitcoin chart up for this, is during that time period of September and October, Bitcoin started to run. We saw Bitcoin start to run August, September, October. At the same time, Ethereum wasn't doing anything. But what happened? We saw the altcoin season kick off, and Ethereum and the rest of the altcoins went into a gigantic rally. We broke $400, went to all-time high. Why am I saying all this? Because I think the same thing's about to happen here. I think Ethereum is going to have a relatively boring next couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to take as long this time, but I do think we're going to see a big rally moving into October. All of this plays into what I talked about down here on the hourly chart a little while ago. We see this descending flag right here. We see that the market is moving to the downside. I think this flag is going to attempt to break to the upside. We're going to get stopped out around that VPVR level that we looked at a minute ago. Take a look at this VPVR level. It's sitting right here. I drew this line so that you'll see it. This level right here, it's $3,240. Boom, you see that? That's the POC, point of control, on the VPVR. We zoom in. I think in the next couple of days, we're going to see the market break to the upside, attempt to get up here. We're going to set a new local high. We're going to stop out at 3,250. Then we're going to reject. We're going to move to the downside. We're going to find support. Then we're going to start moving to the upside again, slowly but surely. And then by the end of the month, end of October, I think that we're going to be trading up here close to all-time high, sitting right around $3,800. The reason I believe that is because I think what we're going through right now is an accelerated version of this time period that we saw in September and October of 2017. And then I think that we're going to see a massive rally moving into quarter four, the same way we saw in December of 2017. December of 2017, Ethereum rallied from 400 to 1,400, Bitcoin rallied from 4,000 to 20,000. I think we're going to see the same thing happen around December this year. But I think it starts with a couple weeks of boredom and relatively slow movement to the upside. Catalyst comes in, probably having to do with market manipulation and institutions getting into the market. And then we're going to see a giant rally. So with all that said, Tim, I want to hear your price prediction because you told me before we started that you think we're going to be back at all-time high by the end of October.
Yes,
on Ethereum. Why do you think that, and what do you think about the parallels that I'm drawing between the 2017 market and today's market?
Well, so first of all, I completely agree with your parallels. And it's kind of funny, actually. I'm listening to you, and I heard you say the words that I wanted you to say, and then the number was wrong. Like, to me, like everything you said was good, and then you said, and then we're going to be at 3,800. And I was like, no. Okay, and here's the reason why. I know I can't hear people, but you can comment in, and I'll see it in a 30-second delay. But Jeb, answer for them. Let's look at Bitcoin real quickly. Where do you think Bitcoin will be at the end of October?
I think that Bitcoin is going to be a little bit over its local high, probably between 53 and 57,000, somewhere around there.
All right, so let's look at that peak. The peak we're talking about is on 6th of September, correct?
You're looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Yes, Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin, right here.
All right.
Boom, got it,
So
showing it.
the peak of Ethereum is what date? 6th of
Ethereum
September.
is the 6th of September.
All right.
Remember.
All right. So unless we're predicting that Bitcoin massively outperforms Ethereum, we have to at least predict that they're going to do the similar things in terms of price action.
But I think it's going to. I think Bitcoin is going to outperform.
Great. So if we get back to where we hit a peak on the 6th, what's the price Ethereum will be at?
Ethereum will be at 4,100, somewhere around there.
4,100. All right. But let's just say Bitcoin.
4,000.
You didn't say we're getting back to the peak of Bitcoin.
No,
you
I said
actually
we're
think
going
we're going to go above it.
Yep.
So you said like 55. All right. So Ethereum, if Ethereum just matches Bitcoin step for step, which I think Ethereum is actually going to slightly outpace Bitcoin a little bit over the month of October, it would at least get back to 4,100. I'm predicting closer to all-time highs, which is 4,300. I think that we're going to be sitting somewhere between all-time high and a new all-time high, maybe sitting closer to 4,500 by the end of October. And it's all because of the logic of just, if we're going to predict Bitcoin's going to do something, we also have to then look at that, apply it over to the charts. If you go over and look at the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart, we're in a great spot. An amazing spot for Ethereum to take back action and to outperform Bitcoin over the next month. So for those reasons, I agree with every bit of your reasoning as far as the price action going up, but I disagree with that end number. I actually think it's a little bit too conservative. I think it's definitely over 4,000, if not a new all-time high.
Here's why I think that what's going to happen is going to happen. Let me first start with what you're saying here. So let's get this straight. Ethereum's going to outperform Bitcoin, right? Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Ethereum's going to outperform Bitcoin. I don't think it is.
Okay.
I am going out on a limb here because there's actually a pretty big part of me that wants to agree with you there. But for the sake of being a contrarian, I'm going to disagree. I think that over the next month, because so many people are so flippin' bored by the cryptocurrency markets, which, by the way, you shouldn't, because right now is one of the best times to be getting into crypto. Why? Because all the institutions are gobbling it up, and they're going to moonshot the price so they can make some money in the next 3 months. I'm not just saying that for no reason. Now's a great time to be getting in my humble opinion. However, until those same institutions that are controlling all the media and all the narrative and everything start to moonshot the price so they can make their billions and we can get left behind because we didn't buy the dip, people are bored. And people are going to be moving out of Ethereum into Bitcoin. And they're going to be doing that. Why? Because in the history that I've been in crypto, I have watched the Bitcoin market dominance every single flipping week. I've been looking at this chart. What happens when people get bored in cryptocurrency, Tim? What happens to the market dominance of Bitcoin?
What happens to the dominance of Bitcoin?
What happens to the dominance of Bitcoin?
It goes down.
No, it doesn't. It goes up.
The dominance of Bitcoin. Oh, you're saying when things. Okay.
When people get bored,
when people
get bored, what do they do in relation to the altcoins and Bitcoin?
Well, okay. So you're talking about this year or overall the history?
In history.
Historically, we've seen Bitcoin's dominance just kind of stay still. It actually ends up moving sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it ends up moving sideways, but it goes into a big rally first. So we saw right here.
Okay.
We saw right here in 2018, the bull markets topped out here. A lot of people invested in altcoins moving into the very end of the bull market. So we saw a big run on Cardano, but then what happened in the next 12 months? We saw the Bitcoin market dominance resurge from 33% all the way up to 52%. But you say DeFi, NFTs, yes. But here's the thing. All of that DeFi activity is now being spread over so many different platforms. For example, Avalanche. For example, Cardano is coming online, Ethereum. And also, I think a lot of the people that were going to invest in DeFi probably already are in DeFi, and I think a lot of new money is a little bit scared right now because the market is moving to the downside and isn't very interesting. So, I think that Ethereum is going to break out to the upside. I think it is going to be bullish. However, I think that Bitcoin is going to outperform it. Also, because Bitcoin's local high was 22% from all-time high. $53,000 needed to go 22% to get back up to $65,000 on Ethereum. If we look at Ethereum here, we can see that it only needs to go like 6-7% to get back to its all-time high. So I think it's not a fair comparison. I think we're doing kind of apples to oranges here. So I think that Bitcoin is going to rally a little bit farther compared to its previous all-time high than Ethereum will, and I think they're both going to end up doing pretty well in October.
But all that rests on the precipice that you think October is going to be a boring month.
No, I think the first couple of weeks of it are going to be relatively boring, and then we're going to see something take off in the middle of October.
Another thing not to overlook, and this kind of segues, this is what we're going to talk about here in a second, is this recent news out of JP Morgan and this FUD being spread. Now, do I agree with the FUD? Absolutely not.
Let me go ahead and ask you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on JP Morgan?
All right, so for those of you who didn't know, because we really haven't talked about this, JP Morgan recently has come out doing what they did back in 2017 by saying Bitcoin is done, it's time for Ethereum. They're discouraging their investors and their customers from purchasing Bitcoin and actually pushing them and trying to say that actually all institutions are moving in the way of Ethereum. Now, let me assess that. Is the statement true? No, it's not true. This is just normal FUD from JP Morgan, which is to be expected because JP Morgan as a whole has done this over and over and over and over and over and over again. What you can't discredit, though, is the amount of people who fall for the FUD.
Yeah.
So what I am saying is not only do I think October is not going to be a boring month, I also think that there's going to be this shakeout of convincing retail investors to switch to Ethereum, not to Bitcoin. So I actually think Ethereum is going to be doing well for that reason. Now, as far as my thoughts about JP Morgan as a whole, a couple weeks ago I was doing research on them. I don't even understand how they still have customers. The amounts of time that they just flat out lie to their customers so that they can stuff their own pockets.
They can be politicians.
I don't even understand it. Like there's, I can't remember what project it was in the stock market or what company, but there was literally a case where JP Morgan told all of their investors not to invest in a certain company, but JP Morgan secretly was investing in that company. The price skyrocketed and they screwed their customers out of that money. I think we're seeing a very similar thing happen. I actually, no evidence of this, so I want to preface this, guys. This is just an opinion, but it's like when you see the character of a company, you kind of have to assume that's the character of the company unless something majorly changes. I actually think right now that they are part of the whales accumulating Bitcoin heavily.
Yeah, I agree.
But they're discouraging other people because they want to keep the price low. And I think JP Morgan is about to benefit very, very much so from a high Bitcoin rally. But what I'm saying about October, I'm not saying Bitcoin will never gain dominance ever again. It definitely will. But over October, I think you're actually going to see Ethereum gain some dominance from a technical standpoint, from a news standpoint. And it's exactly, if we have this worldview of whale accumulation and manipulation, what is the best thing for them is to keep the retail investors thinking there's something nice out there somewhere else. They want people, I actually think it's at the end of October when you're going to see the retail investors come back in to Bitcoin. Then I think that's when, I think the end of October is where we see the dominance of Bitcoin begin to spike back up. I actually think for the next couple of weeks, the exact opposite of what Jeb is saying, I think we're going to see the dominance of Bitcoin go down while all the altcoins spike up, and then we'll see a switch back.
Well, that's interesting. And here's the thing you guys got to take into account. First, let me show you this article. JP Morgan, led by Bitcoin skeptic Jamie Dimon. Just going to not give you my opinion on Jamie Dimon right here because I'll go on a massive tangent. Quietly unveils access to half a dozen crypto funds. I remember back in 2017, when the bull market was happening, Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan, came out and kept fudding Bitcoin. And then guess what happened? It comes to find out that he had bought some. It's a little bit like when Charlie Lee said, no, guys, hold on to your Litecoin. Then he dumps his bags. There is a battle of narratives going on right now. And I need you to understand this because this is critical to what's happening in the crypto markets right now. There are two competing narratives, and they are at war, and they're driving the price. There is a narrative from the mainstream that Bitcoin is carbon intensive, that it is irrelevant, that it cannot actually provide enough value to be what it is worth right now as far as market capitalization, that it is overhyped, that DeFi is a scam, that the scams in crypto are terrible, and that they are outweighing the benefits of crypto, which they do suck. I agree with that. There's a narrative that this is a massive threat to the stability of the global financial systems. There's all these narratives against Bitcoin right now. We see the obvious ones like China fudding Bitcoin and Tesla and Elon Musk fudding Bitcoin. There's a narrative in the mainstream media right now, especially over the last year. I've been here for 4 years. I've been watching this. There's never really been this battle of narratives going on, but I've been saying this too since I got in the market. There's always going to be a time when a market becomes too big to not be political. Right now, the market has become political, and there's a battle of narratives, and you need to know what they are. The narrative that the mainstream, that the investment banks are pushing against crypto is a bunch of FUD. It's why the market has been having trouble over the last 4 months. They want it to have trouble. They want the market to not do well. They're scared, number one, that the cryptocurrency markets are going to start stealing some of their hegemony over the global stock markets. But two, they want the price to go down so they can buy more. They want the price to crash so they can accumulate. They want you to sell so that they can buy. Remember earlier when I said we're going to talk about who they is? This is who they is. I'm talking about JP Morgan. I'm talking about Elon Musk. I'm talking about the nations of the world that want to see crypto crash because it's bad for them and because they want to come out with their own centralized CBDCs. It's literally in the name, central bank digital currency. C stands for centralized. It's a CBDC. Anybody that thinks CBDCs and cryptocurrencies have anything to do with each other other than the technology are completely wrong. Philosophically, they're absolutely antipodal to each other. That's one narrative. The narrative that I'm trying to push and that a lot of your favorite crypto YouTubers are trying to push, which is the narrative that has your best interest at heart. Just because there's a narrative doesn't mean it's a bad narrative. There's a narrative that, you shouldn't, rob people. That's a great narrative. Just because it's called a narrative does not mean it's a bad thing. The narrative that we're pushing is don't sell. Buy, hold, be thankful you did, because I got in 4 years ago. I've been buying, I've been holding for a very long time, and the cryptocurrency market is so far away from the value that it should be. It should be worth $10 trillion in the next few years, and it's going there. The narrative the mainstream has is sell, be afraid, crash the price because they want to buy more. My narrative is I want you to succeed. I want you to have financial freedom. And the way you do that is by being invested both mentally, physically, both mentally and financially in the cryptocurrency markets, because we are watching the revolution that the internet caused in the world on fast forward, because now we actually have the internet to build this on. So there's two competing narratives. One is FUD and sell. That's what the mainstream is pushing you and trying to shove down your throat. My narrative, and the narrative of a lot of people that you watch, is don't do that. Buy it, hold it, be excited, because the future is going to be great. Tim, what do you think about that? Absolutely. I know you talk a lot about worldviews. What's your worldview in relation to those two? The worldview is we're not as much. I'm sure there's someone watching this stream right now that needs to hear this. But overall, the large majority, if you are on YouTube watching crypto, you probably are in the boat of saying, like, I'm not going to FUD out. I'm going to continue to hold on it. I'm not talking about you people. I'm talking about the people who don't know really what they're doing. They're just listening and making decisions based off what they hear other people say. They have not educated themselves. They say, I don't want to get my hands dirty. Tell me what to do and I'll just do it, right? Yeah.
Those are the people we're talking about right now that I'm saying you got to watch out for what's going to happen there, is because we all agree this is FUD, but just because it's FUD does not mean it's not going to come true. And right now, JP Morgan and other institutions are encouraging people who are not educated, who do not know what they're talking about, who do not understand cryptocurrency, to not buy Bitcoin, but buy Ethereum instead. So I'm glad for Ethereum, because it's going to mean people are going to get into Ethereum. But here's what you need to know if you are in Bitcoin. This is what the composite man does. They shake us out with accumulation phases. They pick up a little kid and shake him till all the coins fall out, right? When the coins stop falling out, what's the point of the bully continuing to shake the kid, right? It's the same thing why I'm looking at the volume right now. They're shaking out the volume. And as long as there's a lot of volume coming out at the bottoms, keep shaking the kid. There's more to come.
We do not condone abuse of any kind, YouTube. You need to go ahead and have a real person review this stream. Is
that really going to get us taken down just because I said that word?
I doubt it, but maybe. I'm mostly joking, but just for that sake, I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Let me continue my thought, though, and I won't use any words like that. All right, so when you look at Bitcoin right now, the recent bottom, I was talking to the guys this morning about this. You can look at the 4-hourly chart, you look at the hourly chart, look at the volume, and look at what is happening over the last couple dips, the last couple of bottoms. High volume on the
bottom
on the 21st of September.
Yep, I'm showing them right now.
On the 24th of September, and then look at, I'm not saying it's no volume, but look at how low the volume got on the 26th.
Yeah.
That is, the lunch money's running out.
Yeah, the order books are very thin, in other words.
Right? This is exactly what the composite man does to prepare themselves so they get all of it so that they can now profit off that
so essentially what you're saying, Tim, and because this is really important, then I want to move on to some super chats. We saw this big rally on the hourly chart. We saw this big movement at 5 a.m. yesterday from 27.88 all the way up to 29.83. It's a 7% movement to the upside, $200. The reason we were able to do that was because the order books were incredibly thin. There was nobody selling because they'd all gotten wrecked earlier. So what you're saying is that while the order books are very thin, the whales are going to come in and spike the price because it's going to be a lot easier. Is that what we're hearing?
It's gonna wait. Say it one more time. Sorry.
So when the volume's low, essentially what we're saying is that the order books on the exchanges are thin. There's not very many people having buy signals and sell signals. Are you saying that while the volume and while the order books are very thin, they're going to come in and moonshot the price?
Listen, when the volume is low on the bottoms, is when the supply is running out. There's no money left. Either it's off exchanges, so it's sitting in wallets, which a composite man cannot touch your money if it's sitting in a wallet. They can only touch the money that's on the exchanges. So if the volume is low, they're like, there's nowhere else down to go. Let's go up. If the volume's low at the top, they're like, all right, there's not a lot of people wanting to buy this, which means there's action down low. Let's go low. When there's nothing happening either direction, they go up to make profit. That's what they want to do. So it's when we see the volume low at the bottom, which is what we just saw here on the 26th. And then this is why I think we need a little more correction, maybe not all the way back down, but we also saw low volume right here where we hit like 44,000, give or take. There's low volume there. What I want to see is after a spring, after a low volume bottom, increased volume to the upside, which lets the composite man know, the institutions, the whales know, hey, we chose the bottom correctly, and now we're on the way up, and everybody else wants to come in with us. This is the perfect thing that's it's like when you're jumping on the trampoline, getting a double bounce that makes you go even higher. That's what they're looking for. If they don't get the double bounce, if they don't get that high volume on the uptick, they're like, nope, it's not the last time. We have more to get here.
Well, Tim, I got one final question for you, and then we're going to read super chats. I want to ask you in 2 sentences, because a wise man told me one time, if you can't explain something in 2 sentences, then you don't really understand it. Tim, in 2 sentences, what is the market doing right now, and where is it going in the next month? And I'll answer also.
It's shaking out to rally.
There you go. I believe, and I have it written over here, on-chain metrics below the FUD wide open. The market is bullish and the whale buying proves it, and we're in a holding pattern, and we're going to rally into October. That's where I think we are, guys. In my price prediction of $3,800 by Halloween, we will keep you posted on. So let's go ahead and read some super chats before we wrap out here.
Here's a great question. Before we jump into super chats, here's a great question asked by, I think, Casual Bass Guy. LOL, apparently there's manipulation down, up, sideways. When do we win? Laugh out loud.
You win when you buy and you hold and you understand the technicals and the fundamentals and also how this manipulation is happening. The way that you win is you work on yourself. The way that you win is you invest in your education. Tim, I misquoted this a while ago. Who was the basketball player that put $1.5 million into his body?
LeBron James.
And what happened to him because he did that?
I'm saying what really hasn't happened. You know,
he's really good.
The fact that he's performing as the greatest athlete in the world at his age is.
Do you think he would have been able to do that if he hadn't have invested in himself?
Absolutely not. The truth is, as a trainer too, watching his mechanics, just so you guys know, he has terrible mechanics for health, and yet he's still healthy because he puts $1.5 million into his body.
And if he can put $1.5 million into your body, you can put some investment into yourself. The best way for you to win is to invest in yourself because you can't control what the big guy is going to do. But you can control how you react to it. And you do that by understanding yourself and investing in your own education and your wisdom.
All right, guys. So that all being said, this is great. For all my members, if you are a member and you've not filled out the form that's in the community tab on our channel, please, 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 I cannot stress the importance enough that you go do that as soon as possible. The month is almost over, and we need to get the perks out. If that form does not get filled out, you are not going to be able to get your perks.
Yep.
That's just kind of how it is. We have no way of sending you something if we don't know where to send it to. So please, 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 if you want to get your perks, go to the community tab on our YouTube channel. And if you're a member, it should show up. If you're logged into your account that you are a member on, it will show up with a post that is members only post that is going to have the link to the form. Go fill it out, please. If you want to get your, if you want to get your mug, you want to get your sticker, you want to get your, webinar links, all the things that you get for being a member. Please, please, please go fill out that form, or else you will not get it.
Boom sauce. Tim, we got time for
a couple of super chats. I just want to call out, we're not going to be able to answer all these, but I'm going to call out a couple of people that donated just so we say thank you. Jonah Cockerell, thank you so much for donating. Steph the Chef, thank you. Vivian Store, thank you so much. We do have one to read from Matt C saying, smart money is buying when it's boring. If you're confident in your conviction that there's still a buy cycle, then the best days are in front of you. Exactly. And if you can accumulate here, the fundamentals are still strong.
Absolutely.
And even that, my quick response even to that and the question before, how do you benefit when we're still in manipulation, whether we go up, down, or sideways, we're manipulative? It's again realizing, hey, I'm not going to fight the flow. I'm going to go with the flow. And the good news about crypto is that it is a power-giving project that the more they manipulate and they bring it into main service and people are using it more day in and day out, the more power will go back to the people. So just kind of hold on for that. Alexander the Cynical said, a bit late to the stream, but why do you guys think the market will ever develop a level of indifference to the Chinese usual FUD?
Hopefully, yeah, because China's banned Bitcoin probably 15 million times, and people still sell whenever it happens. It's really sad, but I think China wants to FUD the market because they're building their own CBDC and they're scared of it. But hopefully.
Asif, I want to thank Fong Nagayan, I think. Thank you so much for your donation, man. Asif Ramzan said, what is your prediction for SHIB 2030?
$0.
Yeah, so
$0 and 0 cents.
That's a
sorry.
Answer. Easy answer. I think we had one more that just came in.
It is $0, so you're already there.
This is our last one from
and 0 cents.
PL.
It's 0 cents too.
I'm talking about 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
I was gonna say it's $0 and 0 cents.
I know it's got like 5 or 6, 7 zeros.
All right, we're gonna read the super chat. Yep. Pete L said, "What is your take on Raoul Paul's timeline and price prediction?"
I don't remember what his timeline and his price prediction is. Actually, I'd have to look at that before. Yeah. I'd have to look at that. That's kind of a question where I'd have to do a lot more research on that. But guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. If you guys haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe. We're one of the fastest growing crypto analysis channels here on YouTube, and the reason is because we're trying to bring you high quality basically educational content that teaches you how to understand and read cryptocurrency markets, because I found financial freedom here in the cryptocurrency space, and I want you to also. So make sure you hit that like button if you want to be someone who is able to make something for yourself in crypto. That's all I got for you today, guys. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.